Alright, so here's what I've been messing around with today. This is that new little vacuum pump I got Harbor Freight. Works pretty good. It's connected by a hose to this piece of plexiglass. And you can see that I drilled a hole down this way and then a hole from this side halfway through. So here's my other piece of plexiglass, piece of rubber from Home Depot. Here's a little container of water. Here's a piece of black ABS plastic pipe, a pipe fitting from Home Depot. My other piece of plastic. And then I'm going to turn on the vacuum pump and cover it with this plate. Now if it can pull if it can start boiling water, which you can see it is, then it's pulling a very good vacuum. So it's very tight. So later on I'm going to try injecting some oxygen into the vacuum and microwaving it and see if I can generate some plasma. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, here's the new oxygen plasma machine. Got a piece of PVC plastic with a hole drilled down and then in, connected to a piece of tube. Had to modify this cheap microwave oven, just enlarge one single hole at the top slightly to fit this tube through. And then out the back to a small vacuum pump and a small oxygen tank. We've got another piece of plexiglass, a couple pieces of rubber from Home Depot, and a plastic ABS pipe coupling. So we're going to create a chamber with this. What we're going to do is vacuum out the air, introduce some oxygen, and then microwave it, creating a plasma. So first we go ahead and start the vacuum. We then introduce a little bit of oxygen, which replaces the vacuum. And then we re-vacuum it, place it in a microwave, and when the pressure gets low enough, it should start an oxygen plasma. And there you go. Forced state of matter. So next are the tests to see if it changes the hydrophobicity, and then also for covalent bonding of glass to the PDMS. So there you have an oxygen plasma machine. Okay, so today we're going to run some tests on the oxygen plasma machine to see if it actually can treat PDMS and change it from hydrophobic to hydrophilic, and also whether it will bond the PDMS to glass. So I start off with 3 pieces of PDMS here, and I'm going to pull one aside as a control, and I have a piece of glass. So I made a couple of modifications on the machine itself. Instead of having 2 plexiglass plates, I now only use 1 plexiglass plate, but it has 2 hoses coming into it. One that supplies the vacuum, and the other one is a separate one that injects the oxygen. So I cover it with a gasket, and I put my 2 pieces of PDMS on the chamber plate along with a piece of glass. And now instead of the way I was doing before, I'm just covering it with a single PVC end cap. It makes a simpler setup. So I turn the vacuum on and we place it in the microwave. You have to make sure it's pulling a good vacuum. When the vacuum is established, we have to add just enough oxygen so that it will lower the vacuum by about 500 millitorr, so about a half a millimeter of mercury. And then we want to have the plasma for about only 2 seconds. There it is, 1,000, 2,000, that's it. That's all it takes for the plasma. So we release the oxygen. We take our piece of glass and our piece of PDMS and we lay it on top. Make sure we get air bubbles out. And what we want to do is bake this in an oven at 65 degrees C for 5 minutes to establish the bond. Turn on a little bit more light here.